PCBs stand for polychlorinated biphenyls. So for this, we're just going to call them PCBs. PCBs belong to a broad family of man-made organic chemicals. PCBs are known to be toxic to humans and other organisms.
Black and white photos and video clips represent the narrator's script to include old kitchen appliances and children eating food cooked by those appliances.
So a little history. PCBs were first introduced or manufactured in the 1920s. They were considered invaluable in electrical equipment and in buildings and in machinery. PCBs were used because of their fire resistance, chemical stability, and electrical insulating properties. They were also used as plasticizers in paints and plastics and rubber products, and in pigments and dyes and carbonless copy paper, and many other industrial applications. Within only a few generations, PCBs had spread all over the world. They were found in both animals and humans, as well as in food products. Consumers did not know that PCBs were harmful to people. That is, until a serious poisoning incident happened in Japan in 1968. This incident shed new light on PCBs and prompted much further research. By 1979, as a result of that research, the manufacturing of PCBs was banned, not just in the United States, but also internationally.
Current paint manufacturing plant processes and hazardous waste containing PCBs.
So if PCBs were banned back in 1979, why is there a need to make laws about them now?
Although PCBs are no longer intentionally added to products manufactured in the U.S., they can still be and are inadvertently created when high heat and chlorine are used during some manufacturing processes. These inadvertently generated PCBs are found in some consumer products today. Also, PCBs can be released into the environment from poorly maintained, hazardous waste sites that contain PCBs. Illegal or improper dumping of PCBs wastes, leaks or releases from electrical transformers containing PCBs, and disposal of PCBs containing consumer products into municipal or other landfills not designed to handle hazardous waste. PCBs may also be released into the environment by the burning of some wastes in municipal and industrial incinerators.
Senator Andy Billig stands in front of the scenic Spokane Falls on a beautiful, sunny, Eastern Washington day.
Hi, I'm Andy Billig, State Senator from the 3rd Legislative District in Spokane, Washington, and behind me is the Spokane River. All over our state, our communities have these great natural treasures, rivers and lakes, and it's crucial that we keep them healthy because they're not just there to be the aesthetic centerpiece of our communities, they also are the economic lifeblood, and in many cases, they're connected to the source of our drinking water. That's the good news. The concerning news is that many of these rivers need to be cleaned up, and in particular, we have high PCB levels in waterways all over the state. With your help, we can fix that. We can reduce PCBs in our environment and reduce PCBs in waterways all over Washington state. You know, the Spokane River was the inspiration for legislation years ago to eliminate phosphorus from dishwashing detergent. And what happened is after Washington made that requirement that there's no phosphorus in dishwashing soap, other states followed suit. And soon it was in the best financial interest for the manufacturers to just create all over the country dishwashing detergent that didn't have phosphorus. And now you can't even buy it. So we're going to do the same thing with PCBs. So the concern is that we're paying hundreds of millions of dollars as a state to clean up these waterways from PCBs. But what's amazing is we as a state are actually still buying products that have PCBs, and when they're recycled or disposed of, those PCBs flow right back into our waterways. We can do better, and with your help, we'll remove those PCBs that are re-entering the river. The way we're going to do this is to give a bid preference as a state, and this is what the law says. So the legislature passed, with overwhelming bipartisan support, a bill that requires the state to give a bid preference and try to buy products that are certified to not have PCBs. And it's not just the product themselves, but also their packaging. So PCBs are in yellow paint, in paper in some cases, in lots of dyes and inks, even in things like toothpaste. There's millions of products that have PCBs. And we want to give that incentive to the manufacturers to remove the PCBs and to certify that they don't have PCBs. And if we do that, we'll take a leadership position. Other states will probably follow suit. In fact, I know there's interest from other states. And then soon after a few states do it, the manufacturers now have this great financial interest throughout the country to produce products without PCBs. And it's going to start right here in Washington State. I appreciate your support in helping with this effort, because nothing is more important than our drinking water. Nothing's more important than our natural treasures, because once we lose them, there is no getting them back. If we do this right, we're going to save money. We're going to make our waterways cleaner. We're going to make them safer. We're going to make our communities healthier. And we're going to help Washington to be successful and to be a leader for our whole country.
Products most likely to contain PCBs are shown, like things containing a lot of pigment. And then the fish consumption warning signs found along Washington waterways show on the screen, along with the beautiful wildlife we hope to protect. Fish swim upstream, and majestic bald eagles swoop down to grab fish from the ocean.
Wait, all yellow paint contains PCBs?
Is no, and that's more good news. Not all yellow paints contain PCBs, but a lot do. There are many products that contain no PCBs or low levels of PCBs, and when we compare those products, we can make better choices. To explain it a bit more, here are some other facts about PCBs. They may remain for long periods of time, cycling between the air and the water and the soil and the biota, that is the animal and plant life. And PCBs can be carried long distances and have been found in snow and seawater in areas far from where they were released into the environment. Consequently, PCBs are found all over the world. In general, the lighter the form of PCBs, the further it can be transported from the source of contamination. Perhaps you have seen these signs posted on the shores of our Washington.
The fish consumption warning signs warn against eating any of the shellfish or other fish that spend their lives in the polluted waterways. It warns to limit salmon to only 1 to 3 meals a week. For more information, you can check out the DOH website.
Washington is not alone. Many states have established fish and wildlife consumption advisories because of PCBs. It is important to note that the levels of PCBs found in products tested are unlikely to pose an immediate threat to human health. The concern is that the small amounts of PCBs released to the environment from thousands or millions of these products can build up through the food chain, eventually posing risks for people exposed by eating fish or causing health effects for other top-level consumers, such as orcas. This is called biomagnification, and here is an illustration of how it happens.
A biomagnification chart shows the process starting with the smallest organism, plankton, up through the food chain to orca whales and humans.
PCBs are released from multiple sources into the environment. PCBs also accumulate in the leaves and above-ground parts of plants and food crops. Eventually, they end up in our waterways. These small amounts of PCBs are absorbed by phytoplankton, and then zooplankton, who of course eat the phytoplankton. This is where it's easier for us to see the biomagnification process. The small fish who eats the zooplankton doesn't just eat one. This small fish must eat millions of the zooplankton to survive, and now the small fish contains multiplied amounts of PCBs in comparison to the PCBs in one zooplankton. In turn, the larger fish also must eat thousands of smaller fish to survive, thereby causing it to contain amounts of PCBs that are multiplied by the thousands in comparison to the amount of PCBs in the smaller fish. When top-level consumers eat these fish, those PCBs are biomagnified, and they are now at much higher levels. Replace the orca in this picture with a human, and now you can see why these signs of fish consumption limits are posted. PCBs have demonstrated that once they are released into the environment, they may remain there for generations and build up over time. When the concentration of harmful toxic chemicals in an organism builds up, it is called bioaccumulation.
A bioaccumulation infographic shows how PCBs build up in a person over the period of their lifetime. The infographic shows a young boy with some PCBs and then him as he ages with more and more PCBs until the time he becomes an adult.
Bioaccumulation happens over time as more PCBs are introduced. The longer the fish or the human are exposed to PCBs through the air, skin contact, or food and water, the more PCBs bioaccumulate. To summarize, PCBs biomagnify as they move through the food chain, and they bioaccumulate in an organism over time. When we know the risks of PCBs and we make the best purchasing choices, we influence businesses to manufacture their products in a way that will not produce PCBs. So in this way, together, we can clean up and keep our waterways healthy.